I can understand wanting to honor or even celebrate history, but this may take it too far.
Welcome to New Homestead. Please make your way to the building at the end of the path and down into the colony below. Stay safe and enjoy your visit.
We're asking everyone to take care of any leeches on their ships. You don't want any terrible.
There is value to be found in looking back through history, provided one does not cling too tightly to it.
Welcome to New Homestead.
It's been a while since I last visited. Nice to see this place still has the same charm.
New Homestead is a living history exhibit, but these are real people, so please be kind to them.
We take vandalism seriously here. You don't mess with history.
I don't mind the tourists. They help the local economy.
I'm learning so much here. Everyone should visit at least once in their life.
Very informative.
Hello
I didn't know about
there.
the methane
The
harvester.
museum here is free to everyone.
From a backwards planet like this.
It has a quaint charm, doesn't it?
Just like the rest of New
I
Homestead.
still can't believe people
Well, I hope
actually
you'll come
live
back and
like
see us
this.
again sometime, and I hope you'll consider another Starsap tour. Tell your friends.
Bye.
Will, thanks again.
Excuse me, Bill. You've got to do a better job of keeping your tour groups out of trouble.
What do you mean?
That little boy almost wound up on my operating table. Claudio said he was playing with some of the machinery down by the mines and nearly got his arm stuck inside. It could have been ripped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, kids, little troublemakers. I'll tell the guests to be more careful.
Damn right. You've got to do something, or else next time it happens, I'm billing you personally.
Yeesh.
There are times I envy those who are able to travel like you.
Great. Another tourist. Let me guess. You slipped on the ice and need a doctor to wrap your sprained ankle? I appreciate that you're trying to set me at ease. Sorry for how I responded. It's not you. Anyway. Even though we don't have we have fewer people here. And we're very... For anything else, we can get access to off-world special. It's a harsh world, but there's no breathable air on the surface, and you'll quit. New Homestead was an early colony research base and has stood the test of time. Don't worry so much. I don't. And on top of it, they're reckless. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that So I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor. I figure that once word gets around... Maybe, I'm not sure. I know it sounds crazy. And you know these tourists will believe anything they see in here. Try to be careful out there.
I can't believe the chunks here ran out of special sauce. It's one thing to learn about early colony life. It's another to experience it.
So then you get used to the methane processing smell after a while.
Hello?
That's a good point. They already gawk at us like we're some sort of ancient curiosity.
Oh, I'm just trying to have a little fun. But you're probably
Those folks
right.
in Sedona. Well, I suppose this is one way to make a living. And if New Homestead deems it necessary.
Welcome. I'm Anya. Is this... Oh, well, thank you for joining. We've got an assortment of food and drinks. So what can I do for you? The locals pretty much stay away from chunks, so only the tourists eat that junk. He manages the chunks. I love him, but let me show you what we have. Hope you'll be back sometime.
Myself suddenly very grateful for our accommodations in the lodge.
Another tourist come to learn? It's dangerous in the ice mines. For one, New Homestead. But we also pride our... We don't mind. We work hard here. For drinking water. And we use some... We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still... I'm surprised I still get this question. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped. It can also asphyxiate. Ah, so you can relate. If I might ask... Ah, I see. We used to do more traditional mining like that here, but we mostly export methane and other natural gas. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mine. Bye.
That tour guide showed one of the kids a...
What does your scanner reveal?
Now I feel like it's popping up everywhere.
People here live a simple life.
I can't wait to go away on my learning vacation when I grow up.
Off-worlders have it made. Oh, you don't really want to talk to me. I'm just a nobody from the crates. Besides, I'm not really good at talking to tourists about new... You do? I mean... The crates are what we call the living quarters for the poor people, like me. They're made from old shipping containers. We have to make do with the space we have here. They're comfortable enough, I guess. And no one on Titan is well off to begin with, but you can tell that people look down on us, especially some of the tourists. Well, I'm trying to finish up my undergrad schooling, actually. But I also do some... Sometimes I help Jay out at his shop, and he gives me stuff in return. Okay, well, no. Not the studies, but... I'm poor. I just don't have the kind of money to be a full-time student and support myself. Even living in the cheap-ass crates. I keep having to take odd jobs just to put food on my plate. And when I do, my grades suffer. I just feel like I'll be stuck in a rut forever. What? Really? I don't know what to say. This is beyond kind of you. I mean, I don't even know you, but... Wow. Thank you.
I did not have the opportunity for a formal education of that kind, but I recognize its value. You are good to assist her.
Goodbye. Thanks again for what you did for me. It's not as bad as you'd think. Because, honestly... See you around, maybe.
If you need medical attention, see Dr. Lakota. But a word of warning, she really doesn't care for tourists.
Off-worlders always ask how I can live here. I wonder how they can live anywhere else.
This is a boring assignment.
Someone's got to talk to Joyce about these brownouts. It's a little weird.
Did you know the museum here is full of old Earth artifacts?
Hello there. Welcome to the new Homestead Chunks. We've got all your Chunks favorites. Well, almost all of them. Sadly, we're out of the special sauce. I know. But everything else is still that great Chunks food you know and love. So, what can I do for you? Oh, you had to go and ask the hard questions, huh? How can I pick just one? Chicken chunks, beef chunks, potato chunks, cheesesteak chunks, cheesecake chunks. You know what? I'm gonna cheat if you don't mind, and just say I love them all equally. If I'm completely honest, it is. And people are always saying how this chunks can't and I just know it's because we never... I've been in contact with some of the other restaurants out there, and they'll give me some, but they say they can't afford to send it. For real, good question. They haven't said, but I think it has something to do with them prioritizing other chunks over mine. I guess it's made at a different facility than our other food, and they don't even want to pay the shipping cost to ship from another store to ours. Yeah, sometimes I get lucky and a cargo hauler passes through with a route that takes them near other chunks and back again, but there's no guarantee. You bet it is. You may not hear people talk about it, but I mean, not literally. I'm not saying it's glue or... And I've noticed that once people find out we don't have it, sometimes... Wait, for real? Oh, yeah, right. I actually just tell them you're there to pick it up for.
Welcome to Chunks.
Hello there. Take care.
Star Saboteurs just seen. Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of... Well, there's plenty more where that... So what do you say? Definitely check out the brand. Avoid spending too much time outdoor. Any more than that, and... Excellent! Now there's just the matter of price. Great! Let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here. But more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me. Have any questions so far? Alrighty. We'll be taking the residential elevator. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Feel free to look around, but don't touch.
Hi there. Always nice seeing a new face.
New Homestead's farms are the beating heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate controlled. Perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony.
Running this farm with my family for the sake of our little colony is one of the greatest pleasures in life. Ah, someone new. Well, there's lots to learn. You can always... I'm fascinated by the other worlds and... Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh, that's... It must be a matter of personal taste, then. Do you mind if I ask you another? Thanks. Is the Freestar Collective as... I figured the stories weren't all true. How else? Even in a small community... Though, I understand it gets difficult to all... Is it okay if I change the subject? Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh... I've read about them. I've only ever known Titan. I've always dreamed of visiting one to... Can I ask you something else? Oh, wonderful. Is space travel as... I've heard stories about pirates. I've always wanted to try go... Maybe people here are right. The dangers... Those are all the questions I have at the moment.
We Titans are hardy people. You'd have to be to live in a place like this. I overheard you speaking to my wife, Mara, filling her head with ideas about picking up and leaving home. You got anything to say for yourself? Listen here. Mara's free to make her own decisions. But that doesn't mean I take kindly to other people manipulating her. And we live a simple traditional life here, and it's important to the community that we... People rely on technology too much. We need to remember where we came from. We're one of the last colonies charted. Good. I know it's not easy for you types, but this is our home. I overheard you speaking to my wife. You got anything to say for yours? Goodbye.
Any questions about... Onward it is! We'll be stopping by... But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not.
That's what our
We'll
ancestors
step
did on
on
Earth.
through the hallway there.
But didn't they have
They're
big
not in
open
use
fields
anymore, but
and
the
giant
colony
machines?
has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase. Sadly, they're undergoing some light renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here. Pardon the dust, but I can still... You got it, Antoine. Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
Careful. There are some dangerous areas around here. It's not part of it.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astrobase. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, let's talk. Mostly, I'm sure you've noticed, there's some methane on reserve for critical. You're the boss! Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Though, of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled systems. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Fire away! It's not as if they shut down. See, this place is built with... During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places. Exports mostly, since this world is so methane. Of course, new homesteaders use it themselves. Oh, no one's ever asked me that before. Okie dokie, artichokey. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This collis used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a collis, you might say? Collis derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, colis, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is. I've heard this particular formation was caused by an... According to ancient Norse mythology, Ymir was the first... Ymir even predated the Norse gods, who, as it turns out, killed him. It's a fascinating story. Excellent! So, we're gonna head back inside, through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. That brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and I respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
Lots of history here, if you're into that sort of thing.
Sure would be nice to get off-world sometime.
I could really go for some of Anya's cooking over at the Brown Horse.
This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface.
Hey, be careful not to point that thing at me.
What else can I do? I wouldn't recommend it. But don't worry. Not all. Some water. Sounds good. We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite. This colony is home to the longest running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern. The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor.
Here on tight.
The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants, hundreds of years before it was established.
This is the place to be if you want an authentic soul experience.
That delicious. Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop. Right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit in the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity left, and Maurice is happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more. Well, that's that! Oh, wow, I really appreciate. Enjoy the rest of.
Perhaps in the future we could skip the extra steps and just
Take care!